Welcome to Sprinkle Hill Podcast with your host, Jason. And today, Shane and I are having so much fun. We love to laugh and enjoy. And if you're watching this video, you will know what I'm talking about. So today, Shane and I are talking about. Oh.
Talking about a very serious subject.
Yes. It's a good thing you can edit. So we're talking about finding purpose. So Jack Canfield, an American author, said this: if you can tune into your purpose and really align with it, setting goals so that your vision is an expression of that purpose, then life flows much more easily. And I just like to start out with that quote. Shane and I love quotes, and we love talking about those kinds of things. And I think that kind of sets the tone for what we're going to talk about today. And so I just wanted to start with, what is the difference between a goal and a purpose, right? So kind of defining the two. So a goal could be referred to as a point at one wishes to achieve. So you want to achieve something, right? And so you're going to set a goal. While purpose could be called the reason one aims to achieve that goal. So really when you're thinking about purpose, you're looking to achieve that particular goal. So it's going to drive you to that thing. Goals have an end. Purpose are never ending. They just continue on. Goals are something you want and achieve. Purpose is more lasting and tends to draw you near it. And your purpose is the reason for your existence. So I want you to think about that. Shane and I have this purpose, and we feel like we're starting to come into that purpose and find it. And so that purpose is why we are here. So work it backwards just a little bit in your mind. The implications are that if you exist, you must have purpose, but does not, however, imply that everyone is clued into that purpose or knowing that you have that purpose. And unlike goals, it cannot be chosen or forced upon you. It just is. So as you're thinking about your purpose and how you want to move forward, and again, this episode's going to release right after the new year. So everybody has these so-called New Year's resolutions or goals and things like that. And that's why we wanted to talk about this episode, is to get you kind of thinking about what is your purpose in life, and do your goals align with your purpose? And I got one last quote, and then I'll turn it over to Shane. But Michel De Montaigne, a French philosopher, said, "The great and glorious masterpiece of man is to know how to live to purpose."
That's awesome. I wasn't going to share this, but when you talked about New Year's resolutions, I think a lot of us have those every year. And after a few weeks or maybe a month or two, they fade off. And it's because in my mind, we've set this goal or something we want to attain, but it's not really part of us. So let me give you an example of what I'm thinking about. So let's say that our New Year's resolution was to lose 20 pounds. So we start the year off, we're doing great, and we lose 20 pounds. Maybe we do fulfill it, and then we're done, right? That's so the opposite thinking is, my purpose for the new year is to become healthy. So it's not just to lose weight, it's to become healthy, to eat healthy, to exercise, do all those things. That's a different, there's not a goal, it's a purpose. Your intent throughout the whole year and maybe beyond is to become more healthy, not necessarily to lose X amount of weight. It's to become healthy. And maybe that's even in your mind. It's not just your eating habits or those things. It could be that whole purpose. And that's what we're talking about. I think to understand purpose is one thing, but to recognize the importance of having purpose is a completely different thing. I want to also quote, and I love this quote. I think a lot of you have probably heard this. It's very well known. It's by Mark Twain. And he says the two most important days in life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. And I love that. I've heard that many times, and I agree with it because I think, yeah, when every day where someone is born, that's a really special day. But the day we find out why we were born, the purpose of why we're here and what we want to fulfill, that is just equally as important as the day we were born. And so, as we're going through talking about finding your purpose, just think about those things. Jason and I have brought this up a few times, but we feel like we're really starting to understand our purpose, and that is to reach as many people as we can in the world to help uplift, lighten, share our light with the world, and just make the world a better place. So I think living on purpose means you're doing what truly matters to you and what aligns with your values and beliefs. And I think that's what Jason and I are really starting to tap into.
Yeah, we really are feeling like we're kind of getting, we're just starting to get tapped into that, right? And we're really coming into that purpose, and that purpose is driving our goals as we are moving forward, and the things that we're deciding to do is because of that purpose, right? And so that's why we're talking about this today. I think it's really important you find your purpose. There is a purpose. For everybody, it might be a little different, right? Not everybody's purpose is going to be exactly the same, and nor should it be, right? Because then, how's the world going to move around and get all of these things accomplished if everybody's got the same purpose? So I love what Shane was talking about. So unlike a goal, a purpose is broader and deeper in meaning, correct? So if you're thinking about, you finding your purpose, it's really innately inside of you. It's something that when you do, you think, oh man, you just get excited about it. And you just know that that's what you need to be doing. Shane and I have found that, right? Like this is something we're super passionate about. So find that passion. We've talked about that before. Purpose gives meaning to the actions you take. I want you to think about that. So if you're going to take an action, which we've talked about, that purpose is going to give you meaning to that action. So if you're going to do something, that purpose is what's driving you. Shane and I started this podcast. That's our purpose. So it's giving meaning to us doing that. There's always purpose behind each goal. So if you set a goal for yourself, it should have a purpose, and that's to move or accomplish that thing, right? So I came up with kind of 3 ways to make purpose or goals more meaningful. So the first one is self-awareness. Get to know yourself and the emotions you carry, get to know a little bit more about yourself. What kind of drives you? What motivates you? What gets you up in the morning? What is your passion? What's your drive? What are the things that, you just can't stop thinking about throughout the day? Do those things. Some people like to go ATVing and go all over the place, right? And that's their joy and their purpose and their drive is to enjoy the outdoors. Others, it's photography. Some are writing books. Some are doing a podcast, right? So become self-aware. The second thing is something I often refer to as choose your choice. And what that means is do what you mean to do. So ask yourself this question every single day. What gives you energy? And do that thing. Choose the choice that you want. Don't let some other thing dictate what it is that you want to accomplish or are trying to accomplish, but you choose it. And then the third thing is have a vision. And what I mean by that, there's a couple different meanings that I want to talk about. One is to have a vision that helps you drive forward, right? And so if you have a vision and a clear goal or path in mind, that's really important. The other part of having a vision is give of yourself to others in purpose. So there's a Chinese translation that says, connecting beyond yourself. So that is the translation of directly of finding vision, right? Is connecting beyond yourself. And I want you to think about that. What does that mean? That means finding that purpose and using it to help others find their purpose. Shane and I love doing that. As you help other people, you tend to just naturally kind of find your purpose in the things that you're doing, whether that be helping others, lifting each other up, something like that. I think those are things that are really important. I got two quotes here that I'm going to finish off with, and Shane and I love baseball, and Steve Garvey was a player that is near and dear to our family, and so he was an American baseball player, and he said this: "You have to set goals that are almost out of reach. If you set a goal that is attainable without much work or thought, you are stuck with something below your true talent and potential." And I just loved that saying because I think it's true. If you kind of set something that's just right there, almost unreachable, then you're always kind of pushing a little bit further to get to that goal. If it's something that's super easy, you tend to just kind of go with the motions, right? And there's just not much thought or work into it. And I think there's a lot to be said for that mental sweat is sometimes referred to as. And Frank Tyger, an American columnist and humorist, said, "Ambition is enthusiasm with a purpose." And I want you to think about that real quick. Ambition is enthusiasm with purpose. So I just wanted to close with that quote. And I just think that it's really important to find your purpose in life and then drive that.
Love those thoughts. I think we can't tell any of you what your purpose means. You have to go out and find it. It's going to be different for everyone, and that's okay. That's the reason why we're so unique and so special, is that we can all have our own purpose. I think if you think about the people who you would consider to be successful, or really looking at what they want in life and they're going after it, it's because they know who they are and they're not afraid to go after that. They're really shooting for the stars, like that quote, setting goals that are maybe a little bit out of reach, but they're going after it. When you don't have purpose in life, things might seem a little foggy, maybe a little colorless. You might be bored and busy at the same time. You might always feel tired. Even the small things that you're working on might feel like an effort. But if you think the opposite and you know your purpose, it becomes so easy. It becomes very easy for Jason and I to do the podcast and to share our light with everybody, because it's our purpose. It's super easy. We can't wait to talk about the next topic or our next guest, and learn things, because we're learning as well. But it's super easy. That's what I'm saying. We're not ever bored. This is becoming a very passionate thing that we're doing, and it feels like our life is right and we're aligned with who we are. Everything seems to work out for us. We feel alive. And all of those things are just coming into perfect. It's just aligning very perfectly. And stop searching outside of yourself for answers. I think sometimes we look at the internet, or we talk to friends, and we're asking them, or we're asking the internet, "Hey, how should I be?" That's not how we find our purpose. You are yourself. You were born the way you are. And it's super easy if you just think inside of yourself, deep within inside yourself, because you already know who you are. Sometimes you might just need to pay a little bit more attention. Eleanor Roosevelt, who we've quoted before, says this: "The purpose of life is to live it, to taste experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for newer and richer experiences. Again, we love quoting people just because I think that it drives our message, what we're really saying, and aligns our message with other people, and just is perfect for what we're talking about. So not sure what your purpose is? Reach inside of yourself and push out that fear that sometimes we might have. Dream big and do those things that really give your life meaning. The last quote I have is by Oscar Wilde, and I love this. I love quotes. He says, "To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people just exist." And I couldn't agree more. I think a lot of us are just going through the motions of life, and we're not really living the way that we should. We're not really having that purpose in life, and we're not having life give us what we want, or we're not finding happiness and joy and all of those things. And I think it starts with purpose. If we find our purpose and we're not afraid to live that, that's when we're going to change this, that we're not going to just exist in life. We're going to live life the way that we should for us, not for anyone else. And so for Jason and I, purpose is very important. Again, I would say we're not there. We're learning. And I think we can all get there. We can understand our purpose. We can start to live that way and move our life from just existing to total joy and happiness and purpose. So that's really our message to you, is that each one of you can find your purpose. It might be different, but we're confident that you can, and you'll live the life that you truly dream of.